Alright, I'd like to welcome you guys back to ProBuilt Systems. What we have for you today is the One Plus. This is a flagship phone made by a new company. If you're unfamiliar with them, they have been making modded versions of Android, known as CyanogenMod, for a number of years, and this is their first actual device. So we're going to start with the packaging. The packaging for this product was ridiculously high quality. It's very, very dense, well-made cardboard. And what's included in the packaging is a custom USB cable specific to the device. It's a very stylized USB cable, and it comes with a rubber cable tie here. Also included in the packaging is a SIM card tray for both nano and mini SIM cards. It's actually really convenient because I've switched phones before and then had to go to for me it's T-Mobile, and get a different SIM card and pay 18 bucks, and then you get a new phone, you gotta go back. It's just really nice that they thought far enough ahead to include a tray for both SIM cards. Also included in the packaging is a SIM card tray pin. This is a keychain version of it, and basically, if you're unfamiliar with that, this is how you eject the SIM card. It's really convenient that it's included. Some phones nowadays do include this. Now, for free, they give you a wall wart. And wall warts are wall warts, but this one in particular, instead of having the pins in this direction so it's wider and you can't plug two things in, they were smart enough to align the pins in this configuration, which allows you to plug it in and very conveniently still be able to use your second socket. Okay, and as for the phone itself, we'll start with a physical overview. You have a 1080p screen. This is an IPS panel with Gorilla Glass 3. A power button on this side, volume rocker on this side with the SIM card tray. Speakers are mounted on the bottom. On the top, you have the headphone jack. The back has a 13 megapixel Sony camera. The front has a 5 megapixel camera. So, one of the other things I really do enjoy about the physical design of this phone is it has a textured back, which has kept the phone in my pocket, whereas my previous phones have slipped out of my pocket rather easily. The overall design of the phone is rather big. You can see it here in my hand, but it is very well laid out. They did go with physical buttons as opposed to software buttons. I mean, the difference is you get all of the screen real estate here instead of having the navigation bar on the bottom. Your charms go all the way to the bottom, and then you have your buttons here. So this phone is called the Flagship Killer. But it wasn't the grand gesture of crazy hardware that made me like this phone. It was the multitude of small little decisions that only an enthusiast would notice when designing a phone. So we'll start off with the speakers. Speakers sound pretty decent. They're not very well balanced for bass, but what you do get for using actual sound devices is you get a very nifty equalizer. And this equalizer has a ton of settings, including custom bass and a full wave equalizer. Another small touch is an included file explorer. So often overlooked, but absolutely necessary for enthusiasts. Another feature that I enjoyed was the themes. The themes are very well laid out and designed on this phone, and just in general, the menus and everything, all the little touches that they did were very much appreciated. Alright, now let's talk tech specs. That's what this phone's all about, right? Well, like I said, I like the small things, but tech specs are important too. We're going to start off with a quad-core Snapdragon 801 processor at 2.4 gigahertz. Ridiculous. 3 gigs of RAM. As for graphics, it has an Arduino 330 at 587 megahertz, and all this is powered by a 3100 milliamp battery. So, the battery life on this thing for me lasts about a day and a half, which on my old phone was only a day with constant use, not to mention being paired with my Moto 360. Alright, so the final conclusion is this phone is an absolute blessing to use for this price. It's only $349 for the 64 gig version or $299 for the 16 gig version. You're not going to get a phone this generation for that price with these specs that's as well thought out or supported. And this phone is currently, as of shooting this video, only by invite can you purchase it, but the invite system, once you buy a phone, then you get an invite, and then they get an invite, and it spreads out, and so on and so forth like that. But, nonetheless, this phone is absolutely worth the price of $300 to $350. it's very unlikely you're going to find something better with this amount of functionality and hardware specifications and support. So that's basically it. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe, and as always, I'd like to thank you for solving problems with power.